As you get older, you start to realize home is a place you can visit, but not somewhere you should stay too long. Living with your parents might save you money, but it can quietly cost you your mental health. Because when you were a child, home felt safe, warm, your parents were your anchor. But now your values, your dreams, your lifestyle, they've started drifting away from theirs. You love them, but the conversations start to feel like conflict. You try to stand your ground, but then comes the guilt. So you shrink, you compromise, and slowly lose pieces of yourself. You're caught in this emotional tug of war, wanting to give back, to take care of them, but also needing space to grow, to breathe, to finally become who you're meant to be. You bounce between guilt and resentment, between duty and escape, and no one really talks about how heavy that feels. But growing up means facing it, not shrinking, not staying stuck in the role of someone's child forever. Sometimes you have to leave that familiar place, the idle small talk, the stifling routine, and step into a life that you define. Even if no one knows your name there, even if you're scared, because freedom is worth it, and you're allowed to choose your own version of home. There's a certain type of person who grows more distant from their parents as they age. They don't call home unless they have to, and when they do, it feels like a chore. Sound familiar? They keep their problems to themselves. They'd rather talk to strangers than open up to family. Not because they don't care, but because they gave up long ago. This is called avoidant attachment. It forms when kids grow up constantly disappointed, let down emotionally, criticized when they shared their dreams, dismissed when they shared their joy. The joy killer parent. Why'd you waste money on this? Not first in class? What's there to be proud of? These grades? Just average. They drained excitement, crushed confidence, and made love feel conditional. Then there's the controlling parent. Everything I do is for your own good. But what they really mean is, do what I say, or you'll feel guilt and shame. So now as adults, we don't open up. We distance ourselves to protect ourselves. But hear this. You weren't wrong for needing love. You're not cold, you're wounded. And it's okay to grieve, to feel sad, to feel angry. But most of all, it's okay to love yourself. Because that child inside you did nothing wrong. People who never call their parents after leaving home aren't naturally cold-hearted. They actually have what's known in psychology as an avoidant attachment style. These individuals often experience what's called emotional detachment out of disappointment. They come across as extremely independent, always handling things on their own without bothering anyone. But beneath this strong exterior, they're deeply sensitive inside. Even though they might have plenty of friends around, once the connection fades, they typically don't keep in touch. Nobody really gets close enough to fully understand them. When faced with conflict, their first instinct isn't to solve it, but to run away from it. Why is that? Usually it's because their childhood involved persistent emotional neglect. Things like criticism, emotional neglect, or even psychological abuse were frequent occurrences. Growing up deprived of love and security, their brain learned early on that relying on themselves was safer than depending on others. Avoidant attachment has two other notable traits. First, they struggle to build deep connections. Despite being adaptable, they rarely open up fully, fearing others might see their vulnerabilities and scars. At the slightest hint of danger, they immediately withdraw. Second, they're emotionally delayed compared to others. Not because they're numb, but because they've learned to suppress their emotions for so long that their feelings come out much later after a long buildup.